I'm Bunny Luna, and I'm here for part 3 of my Ecosexual series. If you are not sure what ecosexuality is, go back a couple videos. I have a whole bunch of information about what that means. Today, I'm talking about how sex fits into ecosexuality. I wrote a bunch of notes, like a whole page, just to make sure that I don't get too off topic and that I cover all the things that I want to talk about. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jax Fishburne for this amazing shirt. Okay, so first I wanted to say that everyone experiences ecosexuality differently. Just as everyone experiences their sexuality in general differently. I think it's important to say that ecosexuality includes all of the different kinds of sexualities. And in that, I'm wanting to explain that I'm talking more about like the spectrum of allosexual to asexual. So people who are very sexual people to people who are not sexual at all, and everywhere in between is included in ecosexuality. And I think that's important to name while I'm talking about sex, because some people want to have lots of sex and some people don't want to have any sex, and they can all fit into ecosexuality. So cis heteropatriarchy says that sex is penis and vagina penetration. This is something that I just kind of reject. That is not my definition of sex. That can be one part of sex for some people, but that is like definitely not the experience that is required in order to say that you have had sex. That narrow definition of sex excludes like entire communities of people from being able to say that they have had sex. Just to give you two examples, there are a number of disabled people that are either unable or don't want to have penetrative sex. And also, there are a whole bunch of people that are only sexually interested in the people that are the same gender as them and don't necessarily like want to include the genitalia that is different. Genitalia and gender are like not connected either. But just to like broadly, I have like a whole bunch of information on gender. Also, you can watch the gender video, but like genitalia and gender, like the genitalia you have does not determine what your gender is. But just to give an example, like if someone that has a vulva is only exclusively interested in having sex with people with vulvas, and like that whole entire like group of people with vulvas that are interested in people with vulvas, the like cis heteropatriarchal definition of sex would say that these people have never had sex, and they would beg to differ. So I thought that was important to name. Like, let's talk about what a lot of people think sex is, and let's like throw that out the window. My definition of sex, and I have come to understand that a lot of people have this definition. It's not quite in the mainstream yet in terms of like everyone knowing about it. But that's part of why I wanted to talk to you about this today. My definition of sex is consensual pleasure between one or more beings. And I say it that way because consent is obviously very important. I have next week's video is going to be all about consent and ecosexuality. So look for that in the future next week. But pleasure, like that's what sex is, right? Like is pleasure. I don't want to have sex if it doesn't involve pleasure. Like to me, if it doesn't involve pleasure, then it's not sex. It's probably something I don't really want. If they say it's sex, but I don't have any pleasure at all, then it wasn't sex for me. So I would like to bring all of this into ecosexuality and say that I I have sex with the earth because the earth is my partner and my lover and my friend and like everything. um, I do want to name that there are some people who, like, I've seen a whole bunch of like sensationalized like videos and articles about ecosexuality, people having sex with trees and things like that. And yes, there are some people who do have sex with trees, like physically want to like do things with plants and whatnot. And that's totally cool. Like, if they have consent from the plants and if it's something that they want to do, like, why not? Look next week for the consent video because it's very important. And that's why I have a whole video on it coming up next week. So I'm going to give you some examples that I consider as me having sex with the earth that you might not have considered before. And you might, under my definition of sex, you might already be having sex with the earth. And you might just like not really realize it or think of it that way. So some ways that I love to have sex with the earth is to walk barefoot in the grass, or to feel the wind on my face, or to smell a flower, or to look at amazing landscapes, to eat a juicy, ripe peach. Like, oh, that's so sexual. It's so pleasurable. So that's just to like give you a couple of examples of the ways that I enjoy having sex with the earth. And that is consensual and pleasurable, and it includes me and the earth. So there we go. I'm having sex with the earth basically every day, and that's really awesome, and I love it, and I couldn't imagine my life being any different. Okay, let me make sure I have all of my notes. Oh, so a big part of another big part of me having sex with the earth is the understanding that it's a mutually beneficial exchange of energy. My intention when I am interacting with the earth in any way is to do it in a loving, caring, supportive, understanding, heartfelt way. And I know that the earth can feel this. To give you an example, I don't know the name of the people or person who did this, but I have heard about someone who had a lie detector machine. And so, you know, when you have the lie detector, it does like the, I don't know what the like official name for it is, but it like makes the scratches on the paper. Like you've seen it, like there's like, how am I trying to say this? But it like it has there's like waves of energy that come from the person or whatever you have it connected to, right? So this person connected their lie detector machine to a plant, and it made those waves on paper. So that means that there's some kind of energy coming from the plant, right? Then the person was like, I wonder what would if the plant is already like, you know, obviously having an energetic like output. I wonder what would happen if I lit a match and held it under the leaf of this plant. And just thinking about that, the energy of the plant changed and the waves were much faster and quicker. And to me, that is showing that the plant, one, could understand what that person was thinking, and two, was fearful of it. That's just one of many examples of ways that like science is showing that plants have feelings. So I just think it's important to bring that up because like whether we like consciously understand it or not, we can communicate with plants and animals and the earth. And if we if we are very like quiet and receptive and open-minded, then maybe we can receive messages from them also. This also goes into consent, what I'm talking about next week. So there's an energy or a spirit or a consciousness that is in all living things. And we all need love. We all benefit from love, and we all it's something that we're all capable of sharing. And I'm including plants and like rocks and rivers and ecosystems in this, like not just people. When I say we, I'm talking about like all living beings, not just humans. We're not like the only things that exist here. We're a part of like a web of life around the whole planet. So I just think that like, I think it's important to bring pleasure not only to yourself, but also to the earth. Like when we walk barefoot on the earth, we exchange energy with the earth. Like when we touch the earth with our bare skin, we're exchanging energy. And the same with plants and rocks and other people. And you, as a person with consciousness, you have the powerful ability to be able to put an intention behind that energy. And just that intention super like strongly impacts and affects the energy that you're sending out. And it is like palpable and noticeable by the things that you're giving that energy to. I love the earth so much. I'm gonna make sure I said all of the things I want to say before I finish. Yeah, I think I have said everything. Because like one of my last notes in here is that I have that next week's talks about consent, because that's like the other half of this conversation, basically, because you can't talk about sex without consent. Because like literally in my definition, consent is a part of the definition of sex. If it's not consent, then it's not sex. It's something else. I will probably have a trigger warning in the next video, because you can't talk about consent without talking about what it is when you don't have consent. So if you are enjoying these talks, I have plans for one of these videos every week, every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be talking about ecosexuality and another topic, how they intertwine together throughout June and July. So I have a total, I believe it's 9 that are coming out that are already planned already. And if there is something that you are curious about and would love for me to make a video of that is not on my schedule already, send me a message and let me know what you want me to talk about, because I might make a video just for you. I would like to invite you to go to my website, bunnyluna.com. I have tons of photos and videos there. Like literally I have over 11,000 photos and over 2,000 videos that are available to members of my website. And I just this week created a pay what you can membership for anyone who is unable to afford the regular priced memberships. You can get one for as low as $1 a month. The dollar memberships are exclusive only for people of color, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. But if you're not one of those, if you're, a white person like me, you can still get a membership for $3. And that membership grants you access to all of those 11,000 plus photos and 2,000 plus videos, in addition to a weekly vlog from me that comes out on Saturdays. And on every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we do a group video chat for members. That's a really fun thing that I've really been enjoying. Sometimes we talk about my video on Mondays, so this video. Sometimes we just talk about our days. Sometimes it ends up being like a little mini book club talking about the books we're reading. It just depends on how we're feeling. But if you are interested in seeing more of my work and hearing more of my thoughts and ideas, and if you're wanting to be a part of my community, I would love to have you. Just go to bunnyluna.com and you can get started there. I also have a ton of free content. If you don't want to spend $3 a month or $15 a month or $30 a month or more, I got to eat, and that's my sole source of income. But if you don't have the money to spend, I have a ton of free stuff on my website too. So go check it out. I have a lot of awesome things, mostly nudes. I am an art nude photographer. Those two are mine. That's me in that photo and that one. So, and that one. Yeah, I would love to have you there. I'm always shifting and changing, and the things that I'm doing are always shifting and changing. But it's been a really fun ride, and I wouldn't do it any other way, honestly. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I love you so much, and I'm excited to talk to you about consent next week.